But okay, they had to wait till after that comment, Mike.
There we go.
Got it.
Got it.
Got it.
Got it.
Got
Got
it.
it.
Woo!
In case you all didn't know, this meeting's being recorded.
And turn to your neighbor, give them an air high five or a real high five if they're okay with it, and say, I'm glad you're here.
If you're at home, just high five yourself.
Yay, me. Or no, we can give them a high five. Ready? Okay, perfect. It is January 4th. That means we're almost halfway through January already.
Keep going.
And, oh, by the way, we had Bold in 2021, and we learned about the what? The do not call list. So people don't want to be called sometimes. I don't know about you. I mean, Kirk, do you like getting calls all the time by telemarketers? I hate it. You hate it. We all hate it. Don't call people that don't want to be called. How about that? Does that sound good? All right. So make sure to consult the do not call list. And there's so many different things that we cover all the time. Oh, good morning, Jason. There's tons of people. Oh, this is so great. And where did Mike go? We'll find out where he went. We have January's calendar up. You probably saw it on the internal Facebook page, but we are going to be printing these out and putting them all over. How do you guys like seeing them in the bathrooms? Isn't that great? Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. Was it your idea, Mike, to do that?
I think Rachel or somebody up there.
Rachel or maybe Ashley. I forget who came up with that. Rachel, give us a thumbs up if that was you. Did you come up with that idea? Oh.
Our team did. Yep.
Awesome. It was so good.
How can everybody see it even if they have zero time in their day?
I know it. And so if you haven't been to the office, come to see the calendars.
If you haven't been to the bathroom, that's the one room we know everybody goes into. So.
All right. So here we are. It's 9:30. It's team meeting. It's Tech Tuesday right after this with Dan Turkel. If you guys haven't been to see Dan, or if you don't know Dan personally, come experience brilliance as often as you can. So Tech Tuesday right after this.
Absolutely. A lot of good stuff on here. Real quick, I want to jump down to our new people for the year.
Yes.
Welcome to Christy Cross, Kay Lurvey, Austin Hubbard, Brad Champion, Michelle Vieira, Edward I'm sorry if I get that wrong, Candy Wynn, Brian Christina Jackson. I saw Brian Christina back there.
Woo-hoo!
Do we have any other new people here?
Awesome. Welcome. If you
Here.
raise your hand again.
This is Brian.
Good.
Brad. This is Brad. How are you? Yeah.
Fantastic.
You look so different from your business card. Don't we all?
Well, if you don't know them, introduce yourself. Introduce them to the KW family that we have.
Real quick question. How many of you have been in real estate less than 2 years? Okay, we got something going in January that'd be good for you.
Do we want to go to the next one?
Yeah, if it will.
I don't know.
I was looking for the clicker and it's gone again.
Ignite. I wish I had Ignite when I first started, Mike. And I don't know why that's there, because it's not here.
Because the chat is here.
Oh, it's that one. No?
Just keep going.
Okay.
I'll work on it.
So, how many of you have been through Ignite? Okay, perfect. I was about 2 years into the business when I found out that something was called Ignite. And I was like, wait a second, you mean they teach you how to be a business person right from the beginning of being a brand new person? No way. And it really just gets you into the scripts you need to know, the things you need to say, the people you need to say it to, how to build and structure your finances, how to plan for actually having a business that could be successful. If you don't have a plan, then your goal is just a wish. Right? And so Ignite really helps you cultivate and build what you need to know in order to do it. Have you guys ever heard the phrase, being an unconscious incompetence? If you don't know what you don't know, how can you act on what you didn't know? That's called being unconscious incompetence. But Ignite brings you into an understanding of what you know you need to do in order to go do it. So then you become conscious incompetent, because you haven't done what you now know you need to. Does that make sense? How about that for this morning? Have you guys woken up yet? Okay. So when it
will fire up your business.
That's right. Ignite really builds what you need to do from the very beginning so that you can take conscious competence.
What I love is all of our top agents teach it. And so the link is in the chat there. But this is a thing where all of our top people pour into you and help you learn how to do things the right way from the beginning.
Wait, you mean we have a culture where like the best of our office will literally help other people do what they've done? That sounds amazing. Okay, perfect. And shall we keep going?
Yeah, we're good.
Hey, Mike, I think your mic is off.
How's that?
Now you can hear the
Okay.
melodious voice.
Everybody close your eyes for a second. When you listen to my voice, don't I sound like Garfield the cat? Hey, Odie, let's go get some lasagna. Okay, never mind. Just had to go.
Wow. That's a new one.
I won a trip once for impersonating Garfield.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Big life here.
Well, how's the market though, Mike?
The market is very typical for
Very
right now.
typical.
So it's really low. This was actually up about 20 to 30 units from last week. Of course, it's holiday weeks. If you can throw the other one up here, Tim.
I don't know why this isn't working.
Every time somebody chats, that pops up there.
Okay. Go ahead.
But one more. This is very similar to last year. And so each week we're going to be popping last year's up just so we can see how it compares to the year before.
Well, and 2021 not being 2020 started to get more back onto a routine again, correct? So we're starting to see that in a positive direction. We want to see that come kind of the waves ebb and flow, like the ocean's waves coming in and out. When you get a 2020 where it was like that big drawback, and then it was just insanity for the second half of the year. Would you guys agree on 2020?
So this is the new format on how I'm doing the weekly numbers, because I couldn't fit it all down one anymore. So this is the first half of the year, second half of the year. As of Monday, we had 659 active listings in GSBOR.
And before COVID, that normal number was around 2,000.
Yeah.
So a little bit less, as we know.
So if you have a listing, you're still going to get a lot of traffic on it. What's going to be interesting to watch, look over here as we kept going down. And so somewhere here, it's going to bottom and then start back up as we go for spring. So that's the thing that we're watching that most other agencies aren't. We're going to know when this is happening. But the secret is get the listings before everybody else. So just keep on your consistency, on your calling, on your lead generation, because this is going to start ticking up. And right around here, spring break, you all know what happens.
So like when we did the business planning clinic and people put down kind of what their goals for this year now happening. And when they were making plans through the last part of the end of the year last year, all that fruition from Bold, for example, all of that activity and building from what you did in October, November, December is going to start to really show up now and going forward.
Now, what would be really sad is if you started getting a lot of work done, but you forgot to pay your dues by the end of this month.
Ooh.
So just a reminder, GSBR dues are due by the 31st, $505 with the RPAC contribution. After that, it's $50 extra until February 28th. After that, you get to redo the whole real estate process again. So get it done now.
Is it really the entire thing?
I think you have to go through the class again, don't you?
Do
you?
Don't know. Your license gets sent back to the state, but that as far as getting
if you don't renew, the board will drop you. So you'll have no MLS access. And then we will get charged for your renewal fee, and we're not going to pay your renewal fee.
And the best thing, if you have any listings or closings, they get transferred to Jim. So he's really excited about that.
Woohoo, Jim. Raking in. This is where he makes his big bucks.
That's right.
That's right. Okay, so let's continue. Congratulations, you're a business owner.
Yes. So you're not just a realtor. You're not just buying and selling houses. But what do you do next? Let's hear from the voices in the heavens. That's Rachel.
Oh.
Do you want me to stop screen sharing to show my screen, or would you like me just to talk about it?
No, go ahead and share your screen, Rachel.
Okay. Let me go ahead and pull this up.
As she's getting this, if you're a new person, you need to jump in and take advantage of this, because those of us that are old people wish we would have had this from the beginning.
Okay, let me see. Can everybody see my screen with our Word doc?
It's small, but we can see it.
Okay, I will zoom in. So I'm happy to announce that the 2021 ALC Finance Committee worked really hard on creating a CPA partnership for our agents. What we're finding is a lot of agents, you get your real estate license and then you become a business owner, and yet you don't know how to treat your finances like a business. And so what we have done is we've created a partnership with a local CPA company here in town. And what they'll do is for $150, they can help get you set up with an LLC. And then if you would like them to help set up your QuickBooks for you, following the MRA chart of accounts, they can do that as well. They're going to come in and train every quarter on different tax tips, things like that that you need to know for your business. And then if you need a payment plan, they'll be able to set up a payment plan for you as well. We've had a lot of agents saying that they're really interested in this. So if you are one of those agents, please send me an email. And then once I get the proper operational function of how it's going to flow, I will get you directed to that CPA. But this is a partnership that we're so excited for, and they'll be able to help you keep track of your books and make sure that you're staying in line, creating a P&L, which a lot of us don't have. So this is a first step in getting everything set up and ready for you so you can get 2022 off to a phenomenal start.
So
Go ahead.
can you define a little bit the difference between the name of your LLC and your fictitious name?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we have a lot of agents creating LLCs, which is perfect because hopefully we'll receive guidance soon on how we can start paying out LLCs through the MRAC. So once you have your LLC created, that's great. And if you're going to start advertising your name outside of the name on your license, so for instance, if I advertise myself as Rachel Lusk and I'm with Keller Williams Realty, I can definitely do that. If I say I am the Rachel Lusk team, group, whatever else other than the name on my license, I need to register that with the Secretary of State as a fictitious name. And that's about $7 to do. Once you register with the Secretary of State, the Market Center needs a copy of that document showing that it's registered. Whenever we're audited by the MRAC, we have to show that we have those fictitious names registered. So it's a two-step process. And if you haven't done that, no worries. Just go to the Secretary of State website, put your name in of what you're going to operate by, and it'll print off a certificate and you can forward that to Nicole. But you need to make sure that if you're operating your name, what's not on your license, then you need to have it registered. Even if it has Rachel Lusk team, I still have to have it registered because it's not Rachel Lusk team on my license issued by the MRAC. I think it's $7. So super, super convenient to do.
Sounds like so much fun.
So this is, yes, sir.
So I remember, I think if you get paid through the Market Center in your fictitious name, you also had to be a broker. Is that correct or is that incorrect?
So we only pay out your name what is on your MRAC license. So there is a couple of people that went through the MRAC to get a professional corporation license that showed that it's like an LLC name. However, right now they're working on through the MRAC. There was a law that was passing that we could start paying people in their LLC names, but then that's all the guidance that was given to us. So until we get further guidance from the MRAC on the exact rules and how we have to function, we're not going to do that because if we get audited, we want to make sure we're following everything to a T. So if you don't have an LLC set up, that's step number one. We don't want your commissions to be intermingled into your personal banking accounts. So by setting up an LLC, you can set up an LLC bank account. So when we write checks to you from the Market Center, we'll still put it in your license name, so Mark Stewart, but then we can deposit it into your bank account that provided that would be your LLC. So if you're already commingling funds, step one is to separate that to reduce your liability and to really run your business like a business. Then step two, after you have your LLC, is to get your fictitious name registered, send the Market Center a copy for that. And once we have more guidance on paying out your LLCs, we will definitely start doing that. We just don't have any further clarification on how to do that for a brokerage standpoint. So we need that before we can start doing it.
So the government passed 2 laws last year, but they haven't given us the directions on them. So we're in that middle phase. But if all this sounds overwhelming, it is, and that's why they made a simplified version of it. So Rachel, what's the best way to get in contact if they want to start exploring this?
So if you guys are interested and want more information, please just send me an email. I'm waiting from the CPA to figure out how they would like to be communicated with. So instead of bombarding them, just bombard me and then I'll help pass your information along. But this is a huge value add to our agents. It's a lot of stuff, right? It's not in your 20%. So how can we leverage that to somebody that this is their 20% so you can focus on the things that matter, the 5 main functions of a real estate agent. But as far as QuickBooks, you can do QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Desktop, either version, and they'll help go through that. And they'll do a one-on-one training with you to make sure that you are providing them with the information they need and they're providing you the value of service that you are needing for your business.
Love that.
And as we're switching back to the screens here, I do see a chat note up there that Rachel put on. K-Score is the free real estate school we now have, and we're still getting 15, 20 calls a week about it. So next Thursday night at 6:30, we're doing another career night in here. If you know somebody that's interested in that, I always say it's like pack a pew day at church. Bring a friend, bring them here, bring them, you come with them. The last time we did this room was this full. But next Thursday at 6:30, and we try to get it done in about 45 minutes. So it's not going to be long, but it'll give them all the info on getting into the free real estate school. So just mark that on your calendar. It's not on the January calendar because we just figured that need to be added yesterday.
Well, and if they can't make that every week, pretty much, very seldomly, we don't have a career expo on Fridays at noon. So 12 o'clock. If you had anybody that was thinking about getting into real estate and they couldn't come to the career night, just have them come to meet with Mike or I. We'll have it either down here if we have a bunch, or if it's a small enough group, we'll have it up in the conference room upstairs. So
And we just ask that you help push them to the Friday event or the evening event. We are doing one-off events. However, we need to maximize our time as well. And I don't know if you guys saw, but last time we had the career night, there was 40 plus attendees there. So that's great leverage for us if we can get them all there, and everybody's questions can get answered so everyone can learn from everybody on those questions. And to follow up, Elise Riley, Heather Jenkins CPA.
awesome.
And I lost my full screen here.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Okay. We will continue. So
That's right.
vendors, we have an incredible group of people that we work with that are basically like partners for your clients as your clients are working with you. And so we've got lenders, we've got onward services of basically transaction coordination and other services, USA Mortgage, we've got HSA in here.
If you're
So-
anybody other than our three on the screen, please raise your hand real quick so we can see who's here.
Awesome.
Actually, I'll run around so you can say hi. real
Mike's
quick.
going to run around.
And Patty Maples from Morawski, she is on and she put in the chat, Happy New Year from her and the Morawski inspections team.
Go ahead.
Jonathan with 417 Rekey. We can make sure that all your keys work and you only have to worry about one of them. So
And he came to book club this morning. Remember, Tuesdays in the morning.
Tyler Williams. I own We Move Junk. Got Calvin with me. Real quick, don't want to take up too much time. It is the beginning of the year. We are doing a Keller Williams exclusive referral program. The realtor to send us the most referrals with closed business each month will receive $100 cash. At the end of the year, the realtor that does that the most throughout the year will receive $1,000 cash. So we're running that all year long, every month. And We Move Junk. Follow us on Facebook.
Fantastic.
Anybody online, hop in while I'm making my way back.
Yes. Anybody online?
Patty's the only vendor online.
Hey guys, Jess Bowman, Bowman Insurance Group. We're here to help you guys with anything insurance related. We're independent. We do everything, all lines of insurance, including small business. So just call us if we can help you.
Small business is in if you're starting an LLC, you might want to think about that side of it also.
Absolutely.
Goosehead Insurance, camera here. I can do everything insurance too, but we're the fastest shoppers in town. You can get a quote in 2 minutes at quote.gooseheadcam.com.
Fantastic.
Did I miss anybody? What a bunch of happy. Oh,
Casey.
Casey's back here. Another new person. Who did I miss?
Casey
All right,
Cooper.
Let's bring our three. Casey's here. Come on up. That's right. We want to see your face.
Huh?
You wearing your new Christmas clothes?
No,
Oh, okay.
don't
I was
get
going to say,
clothes-
you look so sharp. What happened?
I don't get clothes for Christmas. I don't get anything for
Okay.
Christmas. I'm
Stand in
always
the
on
middle,
naughty
front and
list.
center.
All right, I'm Casey Cooper with USA Mortgage. One thing I wanted to mention is rates. If you guys are watching anything with the market, they are going up. It's inevitable. We knew they were going to go up. They are truly going up now. Yesterday was a bad day. Today started off bad. Sorry. So what I've told people in my office, because we're very similar in our fields, we all operate the same. Loan officers, real estate agents, we're very similar. It basically just means that the low-hanging fruit is gone. And what I mean by that is the deals that were falling in people's laps, they're not going to be falling in your lap now. You got to work for it. And so you do. Are you okay with that?
Okay.
Okay. So one good thing though, yesterday I had 2 closings. In both of those closings, I was cracking up. I had 2 different real estate agents, not from Keller Williams, had their yearly goals because of Keller Williams agents.
Boom.
Boom. Number of closings per year. And also this other person wanted to buy so many real estate, so many pieces and so many doors because they knew a Keller agent that was doing it.
No way.
So keep up the good work, guys.
Fantastic. Appreciate that, Casey.
Thank you, sir.
Very cool. Very
Is
cool.
Onward down here? There she is.
Yeah. She says, yeah. All right, Onward.
Your new Christmas clothes too.
We loved your Christmas giveaways. That was so cool.
Oh yeah,
That was
if you guys
very
aren't
neat.
following, we did a 12 days of giveaways. So
All right,
that's
so
really
tell us
fun.
what's amazing.
Yeah, so we actually just rolled out our data bank services. If you guys haven't seen that, it's something we've been talking about a lot. But we will clean up your database in Command, make sure everybody's hooked up to smart plans, and then we're doing a monthly subscription where we'll send everyone a newsletter that's catered to you. highlighting your listings, your business, anything else you want to put in there, and then make sure that we are doing contract entry. So you guys are getting these contacts, you're entering them, hooking them up on smart plans, following up, all of that good stuff. We do that as well.
So you're telling me the like the number one thing that we ask all of our agents to do, which is to build up their database, make it sparkle, and then put them on smart plans so that they're being, you know, basically communicated with throughout the year. And that would just literally generate like a ton of business for them.
Yeah.
And you guys do this?
Yeah.
I mean, I can like pay you and you'll do that?
Yeah.
Wow.
$100 a month. For all that.
Amazing. Awesome.
Yeah.
So you could set up your LLC. You could have somebody run everything. You could just go deal with clients.
Hopefully.
You know, that's called the top 20% of the
Yeah.
things that make money for you. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate
We do
that.
plenty of other stuff. So reach out if you have questions.
Great.
Very cool.
Great. Okay. Oh, let's see if our video works. You think?
Let's try it.
Okay, here we go. Ooh, snap. Mike.
So family reunion is this year. It's in February in Orlando, my third or fourth home.
His favorite place.
Yes. And so this is a huge event. It's, if you've never been to it, we're going to try and have a couple of people who've gone before on either next week or the week after's team meeting to let you know how big it is and what it'll do to you.
I've literally never missed a family reunion of all of my time at KW. And I'll tell you, if I've ever said anything valuable to you, if you have ever gotten something important that has helped your business, thank you.
There we go.
Helps your business from me, I would say my one ask of you in return would be that if you attend this event, okay, this literally will absolutely guarantee you change your whole perspective on either you go with a single focus and you just nail it and you go to the specific speakers that are going to get that you're going to get the best information from, or just the overall like the aura of the energy that's created from it. You're going to come back from it and you're going to go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I almost didn't go to this.
And
So
the great thing this year, most of it is over a weekend. So you really won't have to miss a lot of workday stuff, but it's going to be incredible because it's the first time in 2 years. They're expecting, I think, 18,000 people again. So it's going to be amazing. Also, if you know of agents somewhere else that are interested in going, please have them talk with us. We may have a way to get, agents from other companies. We may have a way to help get them there so they can experience KW in a big way.
well, and honestly, as a team leader, just from me to you right now, I would say that this is probably the greatest, I wouldn't say recruiting event, but I would say the greatest way I've been able to get people to fully see what you've experienced at Keller Williams, what it's done for my life. I was able to finally get somebody to go, okay, I get it now. And so honestly, if they're doing what they're doing in the normal business in Springfield or in the areas around us, then they haven't been here or you have not talked to them about coming to join us, this is the event to get them to. And we'll make it super fun and super exciting, creating events the whole time while we're there.
And Orlando, 70 degrees in the middle of February.
Hey-o.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Okay, so and a lot of you are down here today for the contract stuff, which we're going to get to. But I want you to realize every week we go through all these basic things, stuff you need to know each week. So please try and join us either live or Zoom. I think I saw like 60 people on Zoom earlier.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
still are. We're going to zoom through the realtor or the GSBR stuff real quick.
Oh.
If I hit the right spot.
There we go.
There are changes to the coming soon policy, and this should be in your emails from Sunday. So look through that. If you want a record of your closed sales report for the year, this is the link on it, and this should be in your email too. If not, we'll get these up for you.
Well, and honestly, having this report accurately, this is a way to look back and go like, hey, is this showing up correctly? You want to go in here. This link is live. You can actually click that and it will get you
and
there.
you want to make sure all your volume's in because the award ceremonies are coming up. Okay, this is the screen we're going to come back to when Jim comes up, and we're going to go through all the contract changes. And it's awards nomination month. There are people in here who qualify to possibly be the Rookie of the Year. There are other people for all kinds of volume awards. So mark your calendar, March 25th. Last year it was almost 400 people in COVID season. They're expecting 600 to 700 this year.
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to go.
And I believe the ticket price, and I'm saying this without permission, but I think it's going to be $15 or less.
What?
for the meal,
Really?
for everything.
Okay, that's really
so
inexpensive.
mark that March 25th. I believe it's going to be at the Oasis. We're going to confirm all that at a meeting.
You know what?
tomorrow.
I remember the first time you told me this, Mike, that out of the last 9 years, okay, now it will be almost 10 years. So out of the last 10 years, we will have the rookie of the year.
Six of the last 10.
Well, coming up to the 10th. So
Hopefully.
out of the last 9, we've had 6 of the last rookies
And we're
of the
hoping to
year.
be 7 out of 10.
That would be awesome.
That would be
That
awesome.
would be
on
awesome.
that. Okay, other things from the board. Here's a tradesman expo that's coming up on the 6th.
So powerful, you guys. Having a great business to business network. You get to go face to face with them. Might as well go.
And there's the whole calendar for January, and we'll put this up. So this is the board events going on. And
without further ado, Jim Bolin.
Here's the info
Come on
we need to
down.
get into. There are so many contract changes, and you realize most people are going to be. I know people who printed off old contracts and will still be using paper copies for the next 3 months. I'm serious. So that's why I think it's so important that we get through all these things and have you all ahead of things on what's going on.
I had a client one time write an offer actually by hand, like the actual verbiage of the contract. They didn't have a copier. They wrote it. Can you believe that?
Which one you want?
That didn't matter to me.
If you'll pick that. And we got the forms up, and I can run through different stuff as you go too.
I think I'll let you do that so I won't have to be distracted. Hey, one thing, you probably haven't met a couple that transferred over here, but if you have, if you put something on Facebook, say I need a tree designer or a chicken plucker. There's a guy that knows everybody and has them in his database, and he and his wife are now with our company. If you haven't met them, you need to meet the Jacksons back here. And Christina. These guys are former RE/MAX agents. I'm a former RE/MAX agent, and best thing I ever did 20 plus years ago, but it took them a while. So welcome, but he's a go-to guy, and he's a head turner is what we call it in the real estate industry, because everybody respects him at the board and respects him throughout the GSBOR. And when somebody like that makes a transfer to Keller Williams, we hope we're doing the right thing. I know he's doing the right thing, but we hope we are too. All right, so.
Do you want the new forms first or the contract first?
Why don't you just go right down to the seller's disclosure statement? They can't see it from back there anyway. It doesn't matter. I mean, first of all, there's a tons of changes. I can't go through all of them today. I mean, we have a contract class that lasts 3 hours. If you want to attend that, I'll be happy to. I mean, we do it every month, but you can come to that one too, all of you. That would be really interesting.
Wait a second. Are you saying you do a 3-hour contract class every month?
I like to do it an hour and a half, but I haven't been able to yet. It's typically 3 hours. And a lot of times we'll have 2 people in here, but we'll have, a couple new people, and then we'll have one agent who's doing business, and they ask 50 questions. So it goes on for 3 hours, which is fine. The idea is that you've got to go through this thing. Now, when they make changes like this, it's really funny. It says they want to make it easy to use and understand. Well, they failed as far as I'm concerned, because I really don't understand all of this. But I will tell you this, they have added the disclosure, seller's disclosure statement addendum, which I think you should find valuable, because I get calls all the time. If this falls apart, do we have to update the disclosures? Well, by law, you do if it's a material fact, right? You knew that, right? Everybody raise their hand? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I knew that. I knew we had to update that. So I always, when I'm in a contract situation like that, I always ask the agent, now you understand that the seller is required to update their disclosures, but they've never had a way to do it without going back through and marking up the disclosure statement. And now they've created a seller's disclosure statement addendum, which is a good idea. I was impressed with that. I thought, okay, that makes some sense for everybody. You should at least look it up and put it in your file. And Turkle's not in here, but I would ask him if this is all automatically in DocuSign.
I think Rachel said we're working on getting them there.
Okay.
Right.
If not,
No,
you need to go.
Sorry, the DocuSign automatically updates all the MAR forms. What I was saying is in Command, where I have the examples for you to look, I need to update those with the proper highlights now. But DocuSign should be updated because they get those directly from MAR.
Okay, that's important. Who's still using .loop? Are they?
Thank you for your honesty,
Are they
Mark.
going to update in dot loop? Yeah.
That is a dot loop specific question directly, since the market center doesn't have a contract with them. It would be the agents updating it. From my understanding, they do, but I would talk to your dot loop sales rep just to make sure.
If they don't, you have to go find them. And in conjunction with this, the board dropped transaction desk and went with
Forms or form simplicity.
yeah, out of Florida. Anyhow, I looked at it yesterday. They do have forms in there. So the thing I would encourage you, you won't be using an invalid form if you continue to use what you're using. And we'll see it, trust me, through the end of the year, somebody out in one of the smaller offices will throw us an offer and it'll be on the old contract. It's okay. It's still a valid form. You can write a contract on toilet paper as long as it's got all the basics in there. It's still legal and we have to present it to our sellers. So, but at the same time, wouldn't it make sense to use a new form since everybody else is going to be using the new forms? So if you haven't found them, go find them. Well, let's say you have an inspection on a house, the contract falls apart for whatever reason, and it says that the roof has to be replaced. Even if you have an argument with that, you've got 3 roofers, 2 of them say replace, 1 of them says repair, that needs to be updated. You've got mold in the crawl space. Buyer says, nope, I'm out of here. That really needs to be updated, either that or repaired and provide receipts. So then it would still be, if you wanted to update it, you'd update it and say, past inspection found fungus. I think, is that how we use it now?
Biological growth.
Biological growth in the crawl space, and that has been mitigated. Yes, sir. Well, now we'll get to that, but we might as well say it now. I always send the full inspection to the other agent. I mean, as soon as I get it, they get it too.
Absolutely.
I want them to see what I'm dealing with.
Totally agree.
But when you send the inspection notice now, it says in the new contract to send the relevant parts, which, hell, sorry about that. That's Jim Bolin right there.
Beep. You're getting the real Jim Bolin this morning.
I don't even know how to separate that stuff. I see people do that all the time. I'm like, what would I do here? So I got to take the page out, scan it, upload it, all that. I don't have a clue. So I'll just be sending you the whole thing. But you don't have to anymore. It says just irrelevant. Now, Caldwell Banker was famous for this prior to Mike joining us and them disappearing, because they would send over just those 2 pages, or whatever. And it's like, come on, man. I mean, send the whole report so we can see exactly what's wrong, because my seller might want to fix the other things too, like caulk the tub or whatever. But it says in the new contract just to do that. Okay, so we talked about the disclosure addendum, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I had a contract earlier this year and the deal fell apart before I was even able to present the inspection to my seller. So I'm the only one that saw the inspection report. The seller never saw it. Is that a material or anything in that inspection report? Are they then required to still fill out an addendum?
I guess first of all, I'd say, why didn't they see it? If you got it, to me, you are their representative. You're their agent per the contract, fiduciary. They should see it. They should have a copy of it immediately.
Okay.
Because it says, I mean, if you look at the notices, if I send you something as an agent, it says that I sent it to the brokerage, and that you're their representative, so they've seen it too.
The client didn't want to see it because the deal fell apart.
That's how we deal with our kids sometimes. Dang it, it's like,
I don't want to know.
I didn't want that.
I don't want to know, Jim.
I'd say you've got to send it. If you get anything, so in that case, I don't know. I mean, it's hindsight's 20/20, but I'd say you have to send it. You don't have any choice. You just send it. And if they don't want to read it, it's up to them. But then you have knowledge and see where they aren't sometimes, since they're not licensed, they're not under state law. But you are. And the rule of thumb for disclosure is If you know it, everybody knows it. So if it's material, it should be dealt with. It doesn't have to be fixed. It just has to be known. All right, the next thing is the no, where's it at? Here, I skipped it here. Oh, and this is a good one. The as-is inspection rider. Have you looked at that yet? What? I mean, think about it. Everybody writes, buying as is. Means nothing. It means nothing per paragraph 7, the old contract. It doesn't mean anything because the buyer is still and the seller are both still under the terms of paragraph 7. Well, now with this as-is inspection rider, you attach that baby and it's clear. So the first one is check box 1, 2, or 3 below. Buyer may inspect or have it inspected and agrees to repair any damage, blah, blah, blah. However, seller will make no repairs or treatments or pay for the correction of any unacceptable conditions. Buyer retains the right to terminate the contract. That's one choice, okay? That's what we're used to, basically. 2, buyer may inspect the property, blah, blah, blah. If I break it, I fix it. However, seller will make no repairs or treatments or pay for the correction of any unacceptable conditions. Buyer waives the right to terminate the contract. That's what you thought you were doing, wasn't it? But you weren't doing that. I mean, you were responding and say, okay, everybody understands it's as is. That's what the seller did. And then the buyer comes in and inspects and says, hey, we found mold, we're out of here. Perfectly legal under paragraph 7, unless you had language that you created as an attorney in the contract stating that. This is good, right? I mean, boy, I'm pumped about 2022. And number 3, buyer's waiving the right to inspect and the seller will make no repairs and the buyer can't terminate. So that's what you really wanted, wasn't it? You don't want them to inspect. But now this is so clear, there's no discussion anymore. If they check that box and both parties sign it, you're there. You're for whatever you wanted. In my case, in most of these as is, it's, I don't care if you inspect it. You can go up and down and through and sideways and you can bring in 17 inspectors. But you can't terminate once we go under contract. Because I might be 15 or 20 days into the contract, right? This is a great one right here. Yes, ma'am.
When is that document completed? Is that going to be completed by the seller prior to listing, or is that part of the
No,
contract negotiation?
With an offer. I mean, if you want to do it that way. Yeah. So
So the buyer's going to complete.
the buyer would initiate it.
Yeah. Buyer initiative.
But,
okay.
I mean, I'm thinking you could. I'm thinking also you could counter, couldn't you? So they make an offer and they say it's as is, but you're not clear. So you counter, attach the MSC 2051R and have everybody sign it, right? Then you're clear and there's no doubt and it's a legal document and it's binding. That's what I'd do. Or, as he says, you load it up and say, you know, be sure this has to be a part of the contract. Like if you're doing a relocation, they got all these required documents, you could say the same thing on this. And some of you have houses that should have this attached, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
All right, and the last one's a residential sale contract. Now, again, you can't see it on the screen, so it doesn't really matter. Hopefully you've looked at it. The big change, I mean, it has a red line change on line, I think it's 19 and 20 regarding propane tanks. But guys, I shouldn't have these phone calls that I got yesterday, which says, who pays for the propane? I mean, the contract's clear. Who pays for the propane or any on-site fuel? Buyer, yeah. It doesn't matter who owns the tank. It just, the fuel's in there and it's at what price? The price they paid for it or at current market prices? There you go. That's easy. So don't call me. when you call me, I'm like, is this a first contract? I mean, if it's a first contract, you can call me. After that, no, it's all right. You can call me. I don't care. All right. Then on the back on page 2 on appraisal contingency, they did a lot of marking around on this.
It just moved. It's okay.
It won't hurt anybody but Tim and I, so we're okay.
We're tough, right, Jim?
No loss. The appraisal contingency, if you mark this, it's on paragraph 5B. Then you have the right to either terminate the contract or negotiate the terms on an appraisal if you check the box on paragraph 5B. Now, this wasn't clear. Middle of the year last year, the legal eagles from up at MR said, you're reading this all wrong. You know, this is a financing contingency, and if the financing contingency goes south, it doesn't matter what the appraisal says. It's like, what? That's not how we've been practicing it for 3 years. So anyhow, they corrected it. Now, if you check box 5B, you can terminate or negotiate the contract once you receive an appraisal if it's low. If it's high, it doesn't matter, right? But if it's lower, now you have the right to either terminate or negotiate. What would be best? Negotiate would always be better. And then what are the things that you can do there? Seller can come down, buyer can come up. You can split the difference somewhere, negotiate, or the buyer can terminate. And that's, now it's clear. So let's say you go to section 5, paragraph, subparagraph B, and you don't check the box, but you check the loan contingency, what is it called? Financing contingency, loan contingency. If you didn't check 5B, it doesn't matter. So now you can't use the financing to say, well, they're not going to loan on it anyway. All right? Have you got that now?
But there are some times where they write in the special agreement, you should continue, the appraisal and financing contingencies will run through closing. That's a lot of times what's written in special agreements.
If 5B is not checked, I don't care what they write in there per this contract. No appraisal contingency. And now on a conventional loan, there's no loan contingency. Is there a loan contingency till the end of time on government loans? Yeah, doesn't matter, you know, and sue them. They didn't have any money to start with, right? They had 3.5% down or zero. What are you going to get? Right? Doesn't make any sense. But on a conventional loan, now this is really important. We lost a transaction last year, the Boland team, which consists of some others, on an $855,000 deal. Well, they walked out 3 days before closing, said it didn't appraise. We never saw the appraisal. The deadlines were all gone. With this contract, we could have nailed them. We still probably can, not we, but the seller. Point is, if you don't check 5B, appraisal contingency's gone, loan contingency's gone on a conventional loan.
So is it best practice to just always do appraisal contingency unless you're like in a bidding war where you're not going to do one?
Yes.
Okay.
In the contract class, I tell the new agents, always check the appraisal contingency, even before it had any strength. I always say, check it. I don't care if it's a investor buying a $30,000 house. If the bank says, well, we're going to require appraisal, it comes in at 20, wouldn't that be that's an advantage to your buyer for sure. So I encourage you to check this. However, Mike's right. If you're in a bidding war and boy, these people want that house, but we've seen them come in this year $70,000 and $80,000 below appraisal. And I'm not talking on $1 million house. I'm talking on $300,000 or $400,000. It's happened quite a few times. So to protect your clients, option B, 5B, pardon me. All right. And they got a lot of other red line stuff there. You can read it.
And you all can link to this red line version too.
Yeah, it's up in there. That's good. Now, to the inspection section of it, they They've added in a workmanlike manner. I think they took that out a few years ago and it's back in there now. The repairs had to be done in an inspection or in a repair in a workmanlike manner. For some reason that disappeared. Now it's back. Only thing I wish they had added that it had to be a licensed professional to inspect, but they didn't. Maybe next go around when they change the entire contract. Okay, now this is the one that I don't understand. So you can help me. Have you read it? So what they've done is they said, okay, on the inspection, now we've got the resolution period, which is 10 days, defaults to 10 days, meaning I'm going to have an inspection. I'm going to send over an inspection notice in writing, say, Mr. Seller, these are the items we found and we would like you to repair these. Right now they have a 10-day resolution period on there. What they've added, and I'll read it. Both scenarios being referred to above, which is the seller to meet the requirements or buyer to accept the property without or with satisfaction, being referred to herein as a resolution period time frame set forth above. If seller responds by declining to satisfy all items listed in an inspection notice from buyer and does not make a counter proposal, then this contract shall automatically terminate unless buyer delivers a capitulation notice to seller within blank number of days.
I got it. I think I know.
Okay.
So if you did a contract right now and your seller says no, the contract's still alive through that 10-day period.
Yep.
So this gets rid of it or cancels it quicker.
Yep. Well, I don't get it. I mean, you don't understand why I don't get it, I'm sure, because you're sitting there with those puzzled looks, and it's not because, you know, we've been here too long. The deal is you've got a 10-day resolution period. Now, who's going to put 2 days in the capitulation period? Is the buyer going to do that? Well, that's what it says because the buyer's writing the offer. It's a standard 2 days. So what would you put in there? 0 for capitulation? I don't think that'd be right. It's automatically canceled.
Yeah, it's automatic.
So that'd be automatic. If they respond, and here's my deal, and this is what I don't like. It says, if seller responds by declining to satisfy all items listed in an inspection notice and does not make a counter proposal. So it's not or. So if the seller sent back, you know, you asked for 10 items and they sent back 5 items.
Still in the 10 days then.
Are you still in the 10 days? Yeah. What if you got a capitulation period of 2? What? It doesn't say. It doesn't say that though. It says, it doesn't say or, it says and. And.
So if the seller just says, I ain't fixing anything, it dies in 2 days.
It would per this contract. Now, I don't know how to advise you on this. I think what I would advise maybe is that you just put 10 in there. So the resolution period is the resolution period.
But wouldn't that push it past the 10 days then?
No. Well, yeah.
I think the intent is
Yeah.
we all have agents or sellers that just won't make a decision. They just don't want to just cancel it. Right. So
Well, we fit. I agree. And we had a couple agents here in the company a few years back that used to wait to the 10th day every time, because then they had you 15 and 10 into the contract.
You paid for an appraisal by then.
Yeah.
And you've done this and you've done that.
And, you know, and you're sitting there waiting for the response and then they respond. So I mean, I guess it's a good thing. I think I don't know exactly how I would advise you to practice right now with it. I don't know why a buyer would put 2-day capitulation period in there, because it seems to me almost like you're encouraging the seller to do what? Back out. Yeah, just say no. So I'm not sure of the balance of fairness there, and I'm not sure that they made it easy to understand. But you need to look at it because it's a question that's going to be asked when you're writing the offer, right? And so you need to understand what you're going to put there and be able to explain the fact that, Okay, if we have an inspection and we send an inspection notice with 10 items and the seller responds or doesn't respond, or responds with 0 items being repaired, or 2 of the 10 being repaired, then you've got 2 days for the buyer to say, but still the capitulation period is the buyer can.
But if they've made a counter, the 10 days still.
But that's what it says. It says you can. Okay. Yeah, okay. I get it. That's why we're here.
So run that back one more time.
Well, he's saying if they make a counter proposal, then you're still in the negotiation phase within the 10-day resolution period. If they don't make a counter proposal, or they just decline to satisfy any items, which would be sending a response of 0, then that 2-day period says to the buyer, all right, you can accept what I've said, the seller, or the contract will be automatically terminated. 2 days. If you don't change it.
A lot of the theme about this that I'm hearing, Jim, and correct me if I'm wrong, is when you've got a buyer who's buying a property, you want to make sure that their willingness to stick through some of the issues on that property are more secure than not, right? So as in, when I'm working with my buyer and I go, hey, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you love this house? Like when we're putting together the offer, right? Because I want to know if it's anything less than a 7, I'm going to try to convince them not to write on that house, because they're not going to make it through all of the inspections and all the other things that are going to come up that are going to make that house less attractive to them. So I'm hearing these are ways that you want to do a little bit more due diligence up front when writing offers, or when you're a seller, having that buyer.
Your mic's off.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Those of you online, it was really good what he said.
Okay. Maybe mine worn out. Yeah, so basically you just want to make sure the due diligence that you're doing with your buyers up front to make sure that they are firm in wanting that house. Because a lot of times, you get the buyer's remorse, or you get people that are kind of, yeah, I really like it, but the husband doesn't, or all these different variations. These are ways that are going to either help or hinder the ability for the contract to stay throughout the process. If you've got a buyer that wants to walk, they're going to look for all the reasons and they're going to lean on you to get out. Am I right? And then not only that, but if the seller gets, offended by all the requests for repair, a lot of times, they're going to look for reasons to stick it to that buyer and make them leave. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of wording that I agree with Jim on this that is helpful if you do the right things of making sure your buyer really wants that house. That's what I'm hearing. So just to make it a little bit more applicable.
That one's going to take some exploring. It looks
I think so. And I think this. So if a seller, if you're a buyer, because you're not a strong agent, sends over, or maybe it's just a bad house, a 2-page inspection notice with 45 items on there, including fixing the cracked switch plate, you may be telling the seller, I'm not really in a position where I want to buy this house, because I'm asking you to make it a new house. But that's something that's common in agents where they're not strong enough, they're not in control of their buyers. So that's part of it.
Well, and I'm hearing a major theme about inspections in these updates. I'm hearing a ton about that. And so when it comes down to it, and I liked Rob's comment, it's setting the expectations appropriately, setting the expectations that, look, I've sold brand new homes that had problems with them.
Yep.
Everybody knows that there's a problem with every home, and making sure the buyer understands that up front. It's like, hey, by the way, we're going to do our due diligence and inspect this property appropriately, but there's always issues with every property. And when we find them, we're going to be glad we found them so that we can move forward appropriately, because you still want the house, right? I ask that all the time. You still love the house, right? And if they say no, then we have to deal with that issue. We have to uncover some of that other stuff, which is what's written down. And these verbiages are to help you and or allow you to either stay in contract or get out of contract, correct? Yeah, so I think that's important.
Okay, and so summarizing, if the seller does not respond doesn't make a counter proposal, and responds by declining to fix any of the items, that's when the capitulation period will come into play. I still can't figure out why a buyer would put that in a contract, but you know, it's above my pay grade.
I think the buyers would put it in the contract with the 2 days because since we're having to move so fast on making offers, it doesn't tie them to that house and they can move on to the next one. They can just drop it and move on.
Which one is that? Which next house is that?
Right, yeah.
I think there's a problem in this market. Who has the upper hand? Seller.
I just wanted to ask, can we see the capitulation notice?
Yeah, it's just, it's an inspection notice. I didn't bring it with me because I had 42 pages of stuff. Yeah, it's not a capitulation notice, it's an inspection notice. I don't think there is a capitulation notice. It's included in the response.
Hey, Jim. So let's say it is day 10 and they say nothing. Does the 10 days, is that the effective date or do we have a 2-day capitulation
No, you
on
got
top of that? Just 10 days?
10.
Okay,
10's
just
the
wanna make
resolution
sure.
period. It stays the same. So to
Standard 10.
terminate there, it terminates again. And again, I've been asking them to put that in bold for years. It terminates automatically if you don't reach an agreement by 12 o'clock on the 10th day without the capitulation period. Did you have that up?
What I pulled up, because we aren't going through all the stuff today, but this is gsbor.com. And when you come here, look at all these different links.
So no.
And you can go right here to Missouri Realtors and get to all the forms.
Well, and they just sent you a link to all of that too last night because I saw it come through again.
So any of these forms or the red letter versions, you can get to right there. So gsbor.com, and they have that giant menu board, and forms will pull up any of it. Okay, back to the contract.
Oh, that's all right. The last thing I was just going to mention is they've added a box on page 7 for the subdivision review writer. You know, that used to be buried in a paragraph, and then they made it separate, but now they've got a checkbox for that. So if you're going to want to review the HOA or whatever it might be, then now you've got a writer that you include. And then they also put on a rental property writer because we're seeing a lot of that where people are buying houses that have tenants in the property. And so that's a good one to include also. And then other than that, we don't have time unless you want to come to a contract class and we'll try to
You mean
ferret
they
it all
should
out.
be coming to the contract class?
Yeah, everybody should.
Oh, Carrie Wersch. That makes sense. So if the seller does not respond to the inspection notice, then the contract is not null/void.
Correct.
Then the buyer can accept the property in condition and move to close through the capitulation period.
Well, they have to agree to capitulate. You know what that means? I taught English. I know what it means. To agree, to reverse their decision. You know, we're going to accept it as is, so that you're capitulating. Right. And you know, the inspection notice has allowed for that anyway, where the seller can come back at the 10th hour or 12th hour of the resolution period and say, they can capitulate and say, all right, we're going to do everything. Okay. But in the other side of it now, the buyer can say, even if the seller responds and says, we're not fixing anything, you got a 2-day capitulation period, then the buyer can go into the inspection notice, say, I'm accepting it as is condition and we're moving to closing.
One more thing on, yes, this is from gsbr.com again. The landing, which you probably get emails from, is a conversation board. So a lot of these things are probably going to be discussed around the state, and you can even throw questions into this. So you'll see different latest discussions. So some of this will be answered by legal line, but the landing, I didn't look at it for 2 years. I thought it was an advertisement coming from Branson Landing, but it is actually a conversation board. You'll probably get emails almost every day with somebody commenting in there, and you can ask questions in there too.
And we are right around the end of time, but I wanted to say this really quick too, Jim, is that the contract is like wielding a weapon. And you want to be the best wielder of the weapon to protect yourself and your client. And so if the other end is a very experienced, well-respected agent that can wield that really well, you might be at a disadvantage unless you come to these contract classes. I love the discussion that's happening right now because I can feel everybody getting better at wielding the weapon of the contract. Does that make sense? So I would just say, go ahead, Jim. And that was
Well,
my little
yeah,
add-in.
that's good. I mean, I like to wield a pillow. I love you. You'll love working with us.
Yes,
You know that one.
That's right.
So Don does have a contracts class tomorrow. I don't know how much of this will be
Yeah.
into that one by then.
So tomorrow is just the listing and buyers agreements. But we're gonna work with Jim to get a contracts class for the month of January. That was just with Ignite. It did not get put on there, but we'll work to get it on the calendar.
Look at that. See, I lied already. All right. So if you go to these links, you should go to the legal line and watch I think it's 6-minute or 12-minute video. It's not very long between the two attorneys who helped craft this. I watched it last week. It's very informative. They've got their screen up and everything so you can see it. I would really encourage you to do that, and maybe you'll get a better understanding. I hope you get a better understanding. You just got it.
You got it
yes.
yesterday.
Yes, it will be. Anything else?
Yeah, this is Dan. I just wanted to jump in and let everyone know that I'll be moving the inspection rider and the seller's disclosure addendum to the appropriate folders in DocuSign for everyone by the end of the day today.
Woohoo!
All right.
Jim was just saying, I'm back on the GSBR page. Look, Missouri legal line right there. So if you do have questions on that, they'll answer things all the time. We're paying for those attorneys to be there and help us with stuff.
Hey, Mike, speak into the mic, please.
Mike, microphone.
In college, I used to introduce myself as Mike Rowave.
Oh gosh. We almost made it through a whole team meeting
I
without
know.
a bad joke, and now you've
So-
ruined it.
So what I was just saying is on here, you can see the Missouri legal line where you get to, but I want to say thank you from all of us to you, Jim. Let's give him a round of applause for getting us through all these
Yes,
things.
thank you so much, Jim. Good job, Josh. Everybody applause for Josh too. All right, let's see.
And we have one last screen, which really doesn't matter. It says goodbye and thank you. So, but those of you who are new, please come to team meetings. We're going through relevant stuff every week that's timely and important to keep you ahead of the game.
Thank you all. Appreciate all of you. Happy 2022. That rhymed.
Oh, dang it. I forgot